Alright, what's going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 46. This one's the main event at featherweight. We got Giga Chikadze taking on Calvin Kattar. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. He's also an inch taller. So I'll start with him. Training out of King's MMA now. This will be his second main event. Last knocked out Edson Barbosa in the third round of his first main event. And had a lot of success in that fight. I would say you give him all 3 rounds, though Barbosa had a little more success in the second. But he ends up getting him out of there with a beautiful overhand right that it was kind of like a one of those hybrid hook. You don't know if you call it a hook or an overhand, but it just splits the guard, catches him on the chin, and he starts falling back. And then what I liked about it was you can tell that he's really refined his ability to hunt for the finish. He had him backing up, and he didn't just throw caution to the wind, just open up. He really was plotting and set up the perfect shot. Again, sat him down with another overhand right. Briefly ground and pound. Goes for a guillotine, which was surprising. Doesn't get that. Barbosa stands, gets sat down with another right. Fight ends shortly after. So, really good performance for Giga. I considered picking Barbosa in that one. I don't think I made a play in that one. I know I definitely did it on the channel, but I just think I stayed away from this fight, period, on the betting front. But I kind of want to pick Barbosa. I just thought that he would be able to walk him down, kind of weather the storm, and I just want to see how Giga would do in the later rounds. But he never really took advantage of things when he did close the distance. He started to have some success with body shots in the second, and Giga slowed down, but it wasn't enough. And it was interesting that he got the fight done with punches because Giga's pretty much all kicks. But on that front, I think you can make the argument that Giga is the best pure kickboxer in the UFC. Again, you can make the argument because there's other guys that are in the mix, but at least in this weight class, he's got the best kickboxing acumen for sure. And there's good kickboxers in this division. I mean, I don't know where Zabit's been, but don't know where he's at. But he's up there. Yair Rodriguez too. But I think that Giga's just pure technique is better than all of those guys, and he was winning a lot of decisions early. The first two were greasy against Brandon Davis. He got taken down a few times. Close decision. He wins a split decision. A lot of people thought Davis could have gotten that one. Even more so in the Emmers fight, I thought there was a much stronger argument that Emmers beat Chikadze than Davis, but I think a big moment in that fight was Emmers took him down. He didn't take him down in the first round. He let Giga get going with his kickboxing rhythm in the first round, and then he takes him down in the second, but Giga's able to reverse him briefly. Instead of being held down, he gets the reversal, and they get up shortly after. But I think that is what swayed the fight for him because Emmers definitely won the third. So it started off a little shaky for Giga, and you were like, "Oh, how good is this guy really?" Because he beats Erwin Rivera on short notice and just dominates him. But what can we take away from that? And then against Omar Morales, he's actually an underdog, but he wins that fight pretty handily. I think that's when a lot of people start to pay a little bit more attention to Giga. Showed that the whole takedown thing isn't just the way to beat him. It's not just, just go in there and take him down. He was able to open up more. It seems like as time went on from those earlier fights, he got a little bit more comfortable, wasn't as worried about the takedown, just started to let the kicks and the punches flow. Gets his first knockout against Jamie Simmons, who I believe was a short notice opponent, or if he wasn't a short notice opponent, it was just like it was a feast for Chikadze. He was a big favorite in that one, but the book still favored him to get the decision, I remember, and the knockout prop was very valuable in that one. So it's only really recently that he's refined this finishing ability, and that's why it was important in the Barbosa fight. It was good how he, stalked the finish, didn't just go wild, which you kind of see sometimes when a fighter has somebody hurt. They just, not as measured as they could be. So it's good to see that Giga is definitely refining that. And then the best highlight of all of his UFC career was he just landed the perfect Giga kick, which is a body kick from southpaw position, just right on the liver, just that folded Cub Swanson. That was the end of the fight right there. So yeah, it's he's got the finishing ability, has increased for him recently, but again, just the kickboxing, it's pretty unrivaled with Giga, and he's got good lateral movement. Should be noted that he did start to slow down just a little bit, or at least he looked like he did in that Barbosa fight. But then he comes out strong in the third round. So I think his cardio will probably hold up here, but we haven't seen him in a fourth or fifth round yet, so should be noted. But for Calvin Kattar, we haven't seen him in a year, thankfully, because he took that absolute ass beating against Max Holloway. But listen, Calvin Kattar is arguably the toughest guy on the roster. He can take a ton of punishment and just stay in there because it wasn't the first fight he's been punished. He got punished in that Moicano fight, took a lot of damage in the Zabit fight, and he's never out of there. He seems to respond well to adversity too. Sometimes if he starts to get tagged, he'll just let his hands go. Perfect example of that is the Jeremy Stevens fight. Stevens really puts it on him early, but Kattar was able to bounce back, starts letting the hands go, lands some really nice combinations. Beautiful overhand right at one point in the first round, which is his best weapon. Really stunned Stevens, kind of got him to start thinking about some things more. But he gets that beautiful counter elbow that Stevens really hasn't been the same from since. I mean, granted, Stevens has been fighting forever and has taken a lot of damage, so the wheels are just kind of coming off the bus anyway. But that kind of seemed to accelerate his decline. But yeah, then against Dan Ige, first main event, goes 5 rounds in that one. I will say Calvin Kattar, kind of a slow starter. You notice it in a lot of his fights. Maybe the first round you could go to Ige, but by the third round, his face was really wearing it from these boxing combinations from Kattar. And we talk about Giga's kickboxing acumen. I don't think we can make the argument that Kattar's the best boxer in the UFC, but he's up there, man. He's really good, and he's got a really nice long jab. Mostly looks for that overhand right. But it's mostly the boxing combinations that he sticks to. And in that Ige fight, again, his face was really wearing it by the end of the third round. He slowed down, was stopped throwing 1-2s, and was just one shot from Ige. And Kattar really takes over in the fourth or fifth round, looked like the fresher fighter. So we've seen that his cardio can hold up over 5 rounds. And then even in the Max Holloway fight, where he's just getting absolutely obliterated, like the type of fight that takes years off of your life, definitely takes off years from your career, for sure. And yeah, he just was still throwing bombs in that fight, even when he's getting tagged in like the fourth or fifth round. So we know his cardio is there all fight. But the big downside to Kattar's game, which is a big problem for this fight, I think, is that he's shown a really bad susceptibility to leg kicks, and he says he's addressed it. I do think he's gotten better at checking them, but Moicano landed, I think, something like 34 leg kicks against him. Just had that lead leg completely immobilized, and he just couldn't do anything, couldn't get in a range. Moicano just ends up teeing off. Really dominant performance from Moicano, one of his best, and just really exposed the weakness against Kattar. And pretty much everybody looks to work that lead leg, and it's just a natural thing because he has that boxing stance. He's so heavy on that lead leg that it's just gonna get attacked, and he's not nearly as effective from southpaw. But again, he is tough. Like even in that Moicano fight, again, 34 leg kicks, they're all heavy. Calf kicks were just landing all day, and he just still is coming forward, was barely even switching stances, just kept eating shots. Just shows the toughness of Kattar, which will be important. But yeah, lots of great wins here. Win over Andre Fili, knocked out Shane Burgos, not easy to do, obliterated Ricardo Lamos. That fight really shows how good his I just mixed up Hamos and Lamas there. I kept doing that when I was watching that fight, but anyway, it just shows how good his combinations are in that fight, man. He like fakes the jab and immediately comes over the top with a left hook, and then follows that up with a right. Beautiful combination. 1-2 just puts Lamas out. And then again, Zabit fights a great third round. I mean, Zabit kind of has a reputation for coasting in the third, but Zabit had a lot of success working off of his double jab early. He was going for some leg kicks himself, but Kattar battles back. So again, it's just very tough, insanely good boxing combinations, great power, great uppercuts. Really likes to work in that overhand right. And I do think that Kattar has decent leg kicks of his own. He's got low leg kicks that are really good. Doesn't necessarily go to him a lot, but he's also got a good front kick that I wish he'd use more. But for this one, we got Giga as a minus 235 favorite on DraftKings. I know that FanDuel has the props out for this one, but I didn't check. I will say this, DraftKings seems to have the better prices this week, at least on the favorites they do. So that's what I've noticed. But yeah, I know FanDuel has Giga at minus 250, so we got DraftKings got up at minus 235. But I agree with that. I just think that with the susceptibility we've seen to leg kicks and shit from Calvin Kattar, I think it's a big problem. And I think that Giga has better leg kicks than anybody. There's no wasted motion in any of his kicks, and he can just stack them one on top of the other. And yeah, I just think that it's going to present too much of a problem. But what I like for this fight is I really like the over 2.5 at minus 170. I think that Kattar's tough enough to where even though Giga has landed so many with leg kicks with ease against so many people, and Kattar doesn't receive leg kicks very well, I just think that his toughness is gonna at least power him through to the third or fourth. I do worry about how if Giga's finishing ability is really refined and can he take even a few of these leg kicks? Because I think that Moicano's leg kicks had a lot less sting on them than Giga's leg kicks, but they're still calf kicks, and he ate a lot of them. So I just think that Kattar's toughness is going to propel him to get over 2.5 rounds. But I will say, man, that at plus 190, I don't hate the idea of Calvin Kattar because we look and we see he came on strong in the Zabit fight. We've seen him go 5 rounds. I thought Giga was starting to slow down just a little bit. So if Kattar invests in the body, I think that maybe, and it's a big maybe, maybe Giga isn't just the refined finisher that we think he is. Maybe he's still just kind of a guy that is just going to plot his way to a decision. So all these things point to me liking the over 2.5. But I still like Giga. I don't hate it at minus 235. It's just I can't pick a prop in this one, so I think that my play is definitely the over 2.5. But I do like Giga Chikadze if you're gonna pick a spot. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure to subscribe and take it easy.